تبسم 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 تبسم
تبسم تبسم وخل الهموم وخل الغموم وخل الضجر ولا تبتئس من صروف الزمان ولا تشتكي من طعون البشر.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Respected viewers, beginning with praising Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the innumerable favors Allah has bestowed upon us. Salutations be upon the best of Allah Ta'ala's creation, a personality upon whom we are greatly indebted to for conveying Allah Ta'ala's message to us, our beloved Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Today we have a special program, and the program is centered around a very famous and eminent personality, Brother Junaid Jamshed. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue using him to inspire and motivate people throughout the world. There is no doubt whatsoever that when we read and when we know about the life story of Junaid Jamshed, keeping in mind his background, where he came from, a background which was from the musical industry, and someone who was very famous in that particular field, and then coming out of that and coming to render ash'ar and poetry and nazm and nats, continuously motivating and inspiring people through the means of his rendering of praises of Almighty Allah and praising Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also together with that, his whole life story is something that is very inspirational and motivational. Whenever one feels somewhat down, whenever one feels somewhat that he might not be able to continue being steadfast upon the path of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no doubt that this particular inspirational story serves as a reminder that it can be done. It serves as a motivation for us to continue being steadfast upon the command of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So inshallah we will be speaking to Brother Junaid Jamshed, and together with that, maybe during the course of the program, maybe towards the latter portion of the program, we will also be taking calls from viewers. And I'm sure many of the viewers would have many interesting questions to ask of Brother Junaid Jamshed. Brother Junaid Jamshed has also been, for the past 3 years, regarded to be amongst the 500 most influential Muslims throughout the world. And knowing him, I don't think that count much in his eyes. The fact that he can be able to speak to people, be able to motivate people, be able to relate his talents and put it forward to the general benefit of humanity is something that appeals to him more than being in any group of people regarded to be eminent. However, let us take this opportunity of welcoming Junaid Jamshed in our country once again and to the studios of ITV. Brother Junaid, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Morana. Good to be here at your program.
Alhamdulillah. Always inspirational, always good to meet you.
Jazakallah.
Always keeping in mind that where you have come from. And of course, maybe when we do talk, one of the first questions that come to mind is, given your background, where you have come from a musical group known as Vital Signs, coming through that, a change in your life, and of course anyone who has been through and listened through your, how your life had changed, then coming into a situation of rendering ash'ar, rendering poetry, nazm and nasheed in praise of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and our beloved Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What would you say would be the great difference between previous life and the life that you have now?
Oh, difference, Morana, is just like you're talking about East and West, and they can never meet. They are two different directions, right? And it's a choice that one has as long as one is living, and may Allah Rabbul Izzat give everyone the tawfiq to make the right choice. That is my dua for everyone. That life was a life of my own desires. Obviously, at that time, I did not have the I did not have the influence of religious people around me, and I was just growing up just like a normal boy, growing up in the neighborhood, and whatever I felt. I mean, not a lot of people know, but I am basically a mechanical engineer. And I was doing my engineering, and in the university, I met a few friends who would just play the guitar and just sing along. I was a boarder in school, in college, so that's where I picked up, and that's where my friends made me realize that I had a sweet voice. And my father, being in the Air Force, he was absolutely against it. He wanted me to finish my engineering and get on with it. But as fate would have it, slowly and gradually, I started playing music, and then, in the university, I became popular. Then in the city of Lahore, I became popular. Slowly and gradually, people started knowing me, and that was when one of the top television producers saw me. His name was Shoaib Mansoor, and he came up to me, and he came up to us, 3-4 of us, the Vital Signs, and he said, "I want you to do a national song." We had no plans of doing a national song. We weren't the national song singing type. But he said, "Sing it, and sing it the way you like it." So we sang a song, Dil Dil Pakistan, and then in no time it became the national anthem of my country. I still say that Dil Dil Pakistan was quite a freak phenomena, How can four absolutely upstarts can come up with a song that would become the heartbeat of the entire nation? So I think maybe there's link that Allah Rabbul Izzat had planned something which I had no idea. And then this thing carried on and on and on and on, and it became very famous. Yet there was that one thing, that missing link, which I couldn't figure out. That feeling of satisfaction was not there. The feeling of happiness was not there. And I would just go on and on. I made so much money, wealth, everything. And like I said, because coming from a basically an average background, money, paid a lot of money and gave it to my parents. And I told my mother, whatever you want to buy, just buy with it. And she said, "Beta, I don't want to buy anything. I want you. I've somehow lost you. You're not there." So this was one life. Then
would you say that, given the fact that you started off a national song, maybe in a more contemporary style, was it something that was just a right thing at the right time? Or I'm not going to ask you much about that, but I was trying to think why, as you said, four upstarts starting off a national song which becomes the heartbeat of the nation. Was it that it was sung in a more contemporary style compared to the more traditional style of...
Very contemporary and very modern, right? For people to actually see, 19, 20-year-old boys, loving their country and, expressing their emotions about the nation was never seen before. And for them, it was like the song was in their faces. And the song was just a beautiful song, It was just so easy. It's such a singable song that I have heard the translation of Dil Dil Pakistan in God knows how many languages now. In so many languages, the song has been translated and people sing it. Every foreigner that comes to Pakistan, the first thing he learns is Dil Dil Pakistan. So that's why I say it was a freak phenomenon for four upstarts to make something so enormous. Yet, having achieved all of it, Maulana, there was no happiness. In the year 2000, BBC voted Dil Dil Pakistan as the third biggest song ever. And they called me up and they said to me, "So what do you have to say about it?" I said, "Ask the guy who sang the #1 song." He says, "He's dead." I said, "What about the #2? And he says, "He's dead too." I said, "What about the rest?" He says, "You're the only man alive." So give us your views.
So that was the third most recognized in terms of song.
Yes, and they said that obviously Pakistanis and the people who like the song, Pakistanis are 180 million people. We are a huge population. I'm sure most of them must have voted for it. So they said that this is the third most influential song of the century, of the previous century. Yet at that time, I was just a very unhappy man. I just didn't know what was missing in my life. So that's when somebody introduced me to Sheikh Tariq Jamil. And then I have this part of life.
I picked up one quotation when you started off saying that when you started off your career, you didn't have the influence of religious people in your life. I think that is very significant because many a times people look at the emergence or religious people in their life sometimes are looked upon not necessarily as a beneficial thing. They look upon it as an imposition. They look upon it as something that is negative, someone interfering in our life.
Absolutely.
And yet you saying that there was no religious influence in your earlier life and you felt it as a negative attribute and something positive in your next phase of life. How would you look at that?
Maulana, wallah, it feels as if, because I've seen the two sides of the road, that's why I'm saying it. And I'm not just using words, I'm saying it out of sheer experience. That life was as if the fish is out of the water. And deen, because it is such a natural life, you know, everything about deen is just very natural. It's as if the fish is inside the water. I mean, for a moment, just for the sake of speech, let's just forget about the religious people, right? For a moment. You know, if you're not guided in any phase of life, in any facet of life, if you're not guided, you are going to destroy your life. That's why you inevitably see these musicians getting into drugs. If wealth and fame were success, why do they end up committing suicides? Why does a singer want to change the color of his skin? Why would he take drugs? Why would he want his mind to slow down? Why would he get drunk? Why would he commit suicide if really wealth and fame are the criterion of success? But Maulana, they are not. If they are not earned with the pleasure of Allah, they are inevitably get you. And that is exactly what was happening to me. You know, I was so unhappy. I was on antidepressants. I was on antidepressants. When everybody used to say to me, wow, what an envious life you have.
Yeah, reminds of the ayat Allah bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Verily, in the remembrance of Almighty Allah, hearts will find contentment. And that was brought about primarily by religious influence.
Yes, that is when, you see, actually, that's what Maulana Tariq Jamil Sahib told me. He said, you're bruised on your right knee and you're applying the ointment on your left one. So when I asked him, he said, Allah has created humans from two things. The body, which is made up of clay, and the ruh, which has come from the heavens. And happiness is part of the ruh. It is not part of the body, which is made up of clay. You are actually satisfying your body with all the wealth, with nice clothes, with a nice house, with the car. What about your ruh? Your ruh is hungry. And happiness is not part of your body, it's part of your ruh. So then when I asked him, I said, then how do I make my ruh happy? He said, because it has come from heavens, its food is also in the heavens. The word of Allah, the life of the Prophet. And that is when I said to myself, okay, I want happiness. I want to be a successful man, not just in the eyes of people, but in the eyes of my Creator. So I'll find out what happiness truly is. And in music, I always wanted to be the #1 singer. And I didn't want to be Pakistan's #1 singer, I wanted to be the world's #1 singer. So when I started learning how I should lead my life, I said to people, listen, don't talk to me. Don't give me free deuce talk. Just tell me who was the #1 man. Who's the #1 man in my religion? So they said, that's the Prophet ﷺ. I said, show me his life. I want to see how he led his life. I don't want to listen to your lectures. So then they showed me his life and I was taken aback. I said, what a man. And why am I not following this man? Then slowly and gradually I started falling in love with him. And that's
Talking about the soul not being happy, someone very beautifully put it that, although it might not necessarily be the ideal translation for the soul, it's that your, the conscience does play a role with regard to your soul. And they say conscience is that small inner voice that doesn't speak your language. So while you are doing physically and materially very well, that conscience, which Allah Ta'ala in the Holy Quran has referred to as nafs al-lawama, that conscience was slowly troubling you.
Troubling, absolutely. And now I see so many youngsters coming up to me and talking to me exactly the way I was speaking to Maulana Tariq Jameel Sahab. And I exactly know what their problem is. So somehow I feel that, I'm indebted to help them,
And you feel a moral responsibility.
Yeah. And that could be Muslims, non-Muslims alike. I have so many non-Muslim friends, Christian friends, Jewish friends, Hindu friends, Sikh friends. They come up to me and they ask for me for solution, and they all use one word: Maulvi Sahab, help us. Tell me, I'm feeling this right now. What do I need to do? So, and I am so grateful to Allah that, Allah is giving me this opportunity.
How influential was the religious people's influence on your life to make that change?
Maulana, I came across some of the best people, and I pity those who run away from them. Wallah, I pity those people who run away from the ulama and thinking that, they would probably take away all their worldly happiness. Actually, they end up giving them worldly happiness. You see? People don't understand the real meaning of success. They don't know what success actually is. Success is within the heart. Success has got nothing to do with clothes and nothing to do with... Musa alayhi salam had nothing. Fir'aun had everything. But time has told us which one of the two was successful. So that is what I personally feel, that, the inner thing, like you just said, Allah bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. Human heart cannot be satisfied if Allah is not there. And our elders, they guide us and they tell us how to, reach to a point whereby we are able to be happy and successful. If, let's say, for example, a Muslim is deliberately missing his salah, no matter what he does, he will never have barakah in his rizq. He will never have barakah in his life. No matter what he does, he can stand upside down the whole night, praying to Allah. But if he is deliberately doing it, if some Muslim is deliberately missing his fasts, when his mandatory fast, if he's deliberately not giving zakat, if he's deliberately doing all these things, he can never be happy, no matter how big, how powerful he is. So, I mean...
That aspect of, despite having name and fame and wealth, you can never be actually happy. It reminds me of someone who was very, very famous, very wealthy, Aristotle Onassis, or regarded to be the most wealthiest woman of her time. And once a journalist asked her that you are the most wealthiest woman in the world. And she replied, yes, the wealthiest was most unhappiest. That
Absolutely.
Sometimes happens. But now, when you say that part of your changing and your metamorphosis was looking at the life of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, saying that when you were a singer, you wanted to be the best singer. When you change your life, you want to say that who is the best person? And that is a person whom I'm supposed to try and emulate. How did that come into your life in terms of studying the life of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and how important a role did the seerah play in your changing of your life?
I think, Maulana, the life of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and actually reading about it and looking at it, just broke me slowly and gradually, just broke me into pieces. Why? Because the life of showbiz is nothing but, it's just a very selfish life. You want everything for yourself, right? And here you are, you're reading about him, he's giving everything away. So I'm like, what the hell's going on over here? So the difference between, in showbiz, the difference between number 1 and number 2 is about this much. Right. And the difference between number 2 and number 3 is only this much. And 3 and 4 is this much. So you have to be number 1. So unless and until you are actually treading upon somebody else's life, you're actually treading upon somebody else's happiness, and you're treading upon somebody else's treading upon something that they own, you're taking it away, you
get on
cannot
top.
be number one, right? So that was part of my nature. And here I am, I'm seeing, there in showbiz there is no second chance. You don't give anybody a second chance. If somebody and there's no forgiveness. There is no concept of forgiveness. If somebody's made a mistake, if somebody's made you look bad on TV, on stage, he has to go. If he comes and he says, "I'm sorry," hey, my friend, you're sorry accepted, but I don't ever want to see you back on stage with me again. That is the kind of life I was leading. And now I come across a totally different life. And I see that, this man, he forgives, he controls his anger, he takes care of his children, he sits with his wife, he takes care of women, he's nice to women, and he's very nice to his enemies, he's very forgiving, he's very gentle. I had never heard any of this before. So I was slowly and gradually trying to understand what kind of a man he was.
Many people, taken aback by the outward glamour of the world, would look at these two lives and say that, but you had such great amount of fame, you had such great amount of exposure, and everyone knew you as a person of showbiz. Now you have in a different cast, in a different role. Now for you, in terms of the two different lives, which many people enamored by the outward glamour would look upon that life as something more appealing. But now that you know the two, what would you say between the two? How would you feel yourself comparatively between that life and the life that you are leading now?
Maulana, huge difference. And that difference is only of the mindset. Then I knew that I had to do everything. And for that, I had to make an effort. And that I had to grab it. And I had to take it. But in this different life, there is another entity which is called Allah. Right? And there is another entity on which you rely a lot. And there is another entity to whom you're talking a lot. You know that there's somebody else with you who's the greatest of them all. Everything is under his control. And if you do, and if you abide by what he's saying, you'll just end up achieving whatever you want to achieve. Right? So that it's a different mindset. Now I know that if I give sadaqah, I'm going to get this money back. Now I know if I don't lie, if I do my mandatory salah, if I'm not taking interest, if I'm doing all those right things, I know there's going to be barakah in my rizq. I know my children are going to be obedient to me. I know my wife is going to be loyal to me. I know all these things. So now the reliance is more on Allah. Over there, the reliance was more on my own effort.
No doubt. So there you left yourself out to the elements of the world. Now you have the support of the creation.
Everything is under his control. You see, the best part is, everything is under his control. Your whole life is under his control. You know it. If you want respect, this is what you need to do. If you want barakah in your rizq, this is what you need to do. If you want your children to be obedient, this is what you need to do. So it's just a very comfortable life now.
Definitely. Wallahu khairur raziqeen. Allah Ta'ala is the best of providers. Wa tu'izzu man tasha wa tudhillu man tasha. He is the one who grants respect and honor, and he is the one who takes away respect and honor. May we always realize that. We are going to have a short break, and inshallah during the course of the break we will see some of Brother Junaid Jamshed's rendering of the praises of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we come back, we will speak again to Junaid Jamshed, maybe speaking about Pakistan. Keep this one number in your mind, and maybe you can note it: 011 086 7700. Very soon we will be opening the lines, and viewers would be able to call and ask Junaid Jamshed questions directly. Jazakumullah.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. This is Junaid Jamshed. I'm sitting in Abdul Malik's studio in Washington, D.C., Sterling area, Virginia. And this is Time Waits for No One. Today, the log reads 12th of October, 2012.
Hours and hours slowly drain. Deep in my heart I feel the pain. How many chances are gonna slip away? I'm just a shadow of my past. Seems everything evades my grasp. Wish I could relive our moments thrown away. Time waits for no one, no one. Life goes on. Yes, it's friends to no one, no one carries on. Time waits for no one, no one. Life goes on. Yes, it's friends to no one, no one carries on.
Time can heal a broken heart. Time can push us apart. Time will make you grow old and maybe grow cold. And Lord only knows how it brings wisdom to souls. And so in time, life will go on in the blink of an eye. Thought I was passing time. Time was passing me by. Next time, I need some more time, 'cause I'm out of time.
Time waits for no one, no one. Life goes on. Yes, it's friends to no one, no one carries on. Time waits for no one, no one. Life goes on. Yes, it's friends to no one, no one carries on.
No fear of crow's feet at the corners of my eyes, nor my beard being filled with light, no leathery lines on the face of time of mine. What I fear is that feeling inside, holding me back from doing what's right. Will I change my life? Will it pass me by, me by?
Time waits for no one, no one. Life goes on. Yes, it's friends to no one, no one carries on. Time waits for no one, no one. Life goes on. Yes, it's friends to no one, no one carries on.
By the passing of time through the day, truly I'm in a state of loss. Unless I believe and I work my deeds and patiently work for the cause. But now again, procrastination, gotta find that motivation. Time just goes by, never waiting. Prime is over, now I'm fading. I know this time that I kill will come and haunt me. I got the strength in my will, so heaven wants me. My scale I know I can feel, if my Lord grants me the time for using my skill, won't let the chance flee.
No one, no one. Life goes on. Yes, it's friends to no one, no one carries on. Time waits for no one, no one. Life goes on. Yes, it's friends to no one, no one carries on.
Respected viewers, welcome back. Just before the break, when we heard Junaid Jamshed rendering one of his beautiful recitations in the English language, speaking about very important messages, core messages that come from Allah and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And inshallah, we'll be speaking again to Brother Junaid. And just keep this number again at the back of your mind and record it, 011 086 7700. In the next 10 or 15 minutes, we will be taking your calls. If any questions that you can direct to Brother Junaid Jamshed. Brother Junaid, I mean, it's so fascinating speaking to you. I mean, besides your profile, besides the other aspect of being counted as an eminent person, when you know you one-to-one, it's just so different. A question that always comes in my mind, something that I'm very passionate about. I studied 10 years in Pakistan, so there is a very great affinity to Pakistan.
Okay.
Now, you know, you spoke about, you know, young upstarts starting off with Dil Dil Pakistan, speaking about the love of your country. And yet that country today is regarded to be maybe not so in your eyes, but in many people's eyes, quote unquote, a failed state. Now, how do you find yourself from where you started off, speaking very glowingly, patriotically about Pakistan? Where do you find yourself now with regard to your country?
See, Maulana, Pakistan was created in the name of Allah. You see, after Madinatul Munawwara, that's the only second state in the world that was created in the name of Allah. I personally feel that, you know, we did a huge mistrust in the eyes of Allah when we wanted a state in which Islam could be practiced, and we didn't practice Islam in that country. So I think in that aspect, 67 years were given to us, you know, to create a model state in which, you know, Islam was being practiced. Because unless and until we practice Islam, unless and until you practice something, how would people know whether this is good or bad? Right? If I just call myself a Muslim and if I call myself a doctor and I'm not practicing, what kind of a doctor am I? What benefit are people going to get out of me? So as far as medicine is concerned. So that, why did Allah have to break that nation, which was India, a huge country? Why would Allah have to break that nation? So many people prayed and prayed and prayed, oh Allah, give us a state where we can actually practice our religion. But we didn't do it. And that I think was a huge mistrust on our part that we did. Secondly, there is that other thing in Pakistan, that Pakistan has two extremes. You know, you have the staunchest of the Muslims there, you've been there, yes, right? Yes. And then you have the most secular, right? And if you see something which is totally against the virtues of Islam, that's going to hurt you after a while, right? There's not for a long time that you may be able to take it. So sometimes there is that clash. So that clash is always going to be there. Whenever an effort of khair is being made somewhere, right? The effort of batil is also there. You see, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was called Sadiq and Amin before he became the Prophet. And after he became the Prophet and gave the dawat, he was, you know, called different names. So I think that is a very evolution that is happening in Pakistan, and just like every other state, just like probably South Africa, I think these days Pakistan is going through that particular part. I think in which probably Imran Khan is playing a huge role.
Obviously, now when you talk about the two extremes, which anyone who has been to Pakistan can see, you find those who are extremely religious and those who sometimes look upon religion, unfortunately, as a barrier to progress, which is
Absolutely.
not. Obviously, it is not. But some people do have this in their mind. But is there any way of bridging that gap? I know Maulana Tariq Jamil speaks very passionately about if you want to change people, then you don't impose it upon it. You bring it about by your conduct and your character.
Absolutely.
And you bring it about by love and kindness. But is the tension still there?
The tension is there, Maulana, and the tension is going to remain till the day of Qiyamah. You know it would, right? This, Inna hadayna hussabil imma shakiram wa imma kafura. Some will listen to it and some will not listen to it. This is going to happen right till the day of Qiyamah. I personally feel that the Tablighi Jamaat are doing an incredible effort in this regard, right? Because there are people from the society who've seen the two sides of the road. Somebody like me, right? Who's seen everything, right? So if I come across somebody who is going through this mental turmoil, instead of demeaning him, I know he needs help. I know he needs me to be even more kinder to him, you know, the way my teachers were, like the way Maulana Tariq Jameel Sahab was with me. I left music, I came back into music. I left music, then I came back into music. Every time I came back into music, Maulana was even 10 times more kinder to me. And he would say, okay, take your time in music, take your time, but don't leave us. You know, keep coming to me, you know, keep coming, meeting me.
What compassion, I
yeah.
suppose.
And when everybody told Maulana, and this Maulana told me later, when everybody told Maulana, you are wasting your time on this guy. And Maulana used to say, no, I know there is a lot of khair in this boy's heart. And and that is exactly what happened when we met, and we went and we met Amir Khan. That when I told Maulana, you did not even say a word of Islam to this guy. And we've been sitting with him for the last 6 hours. So Maulana said, did I say anything about Islam to you when I met you? For days and days, all I did was listen to your music. And then I remembered, and I said, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was doing with him. And he said, it was after a while that slowly and gradually, you came up to me and you said, Maulana, teach me something and tell me this and tell me that. Then I slowly and gradually told you a lot of things. And that is exactly that's what I hear now, that you know, Amir Khan is still in touch with Maulana even after a year and a half. And he exchanges his emails and calls him up, you know. And so I guess this Jamaat is playing a huge role in bridging a gap. We have to, Maulana, learn to respect everybody's views.
Just viewers, once again, the number 011 086 7700. We will be opening up the lines. If anyone wants to ask any question directly to Brother Junaid Jamshed, they can do so. We will be speaking in the meanwhile until we do get callers. Jazakumullah. Again, the number is also on the screen if people want to call in. On a personal level, Junaid, how is it to live in Pakistan? You have this perception. You see everywhere in the media, bombs going out everywhere, people being killed, sometimes in crowded marketplaces, bombs going out, sometimes even in masajid and in mosques. Do you feel that unsafety palpable in people's life, or is it? No, it is not like the way the media makes it out. How is it?
It really is not like the way the media makes it out. In fact, 90% of the time, it's not exactly like the media makes it out. Pakistan, to begin with, is a huge country. It's just a beautiful country. You know, we have everything. We have 4 seasons. We have the best fruit in the world. We have the best, you've been there, the best mountains. We have the best rivers and, you know, the ponds and everything, and the best deserts and the best plains and everything. And you know, Pakistanis are like the most hospitable people. Yes. All you have to do is just tell that man just has to know that you're from outside somewhere. You know, he'll bring in everything for you, and that's the way it is. I personally feel we are going through a rejuvenating time.
Inshallah, it will be so. Yeah, we've got a very interesting caller. I believe we've got our first caller. Brother Idris Khamisa, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Maulana, it's such a joy to listen to you and to Brother Junaid Jamshed. I know he's shaking his head vigorously. He's such an inspiration to all of us. And I just want to say, Maulana, it's a lovely program, very practical. And Brother Junaid is such an inspiration. May Allah give strength to strength. And nice to see you smiling.
I just love this man.
Jazakallah, Brother Idris. I mean, you have also been an inspiration to many, and Jazakallah for your call, and we really do appreciate that call. If there's any other callers, really, the number is on the screen, and inshallah, we would like to hear from you, and I'm sure Brother Junaid is also would like to hear from our people here in South Africa with regard to any other callers. Brother, now, we have another caller, Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Jay, brother, you can go ahead. We're listening to you.
Yeah, I just want to say welcome to the gentleman. And I have I've actually listened to the lectures of his mentor, Maulana Tariq Jameel. And I just want to ask him how did every time I listen to Maulana Tariq Jameel, I actually cry. He is absolutely he follows the Sunnah to the T. And I just wanted to ask you, Brother Junaid, how he has inspired you.
Oh,
Thank you.
a pleasure, brother. Obviously, to begin with, he's my teacher. Obviously, you know, you have an emotional attachment with your teacher. You know, the amazing things about him were not his religious aspects that actually inspired me more. Those were not the cases that I used to think about, right? I've heard millions of his bayans, right? You know, little things. Like once I said, Maulana, I'm going for Hajj, you know, for the first time. Maulana, you have to come with me. He said, listen, I dearly want to come with to Hajj with you, but it's just that my wife says, you know, you're out all the time, and my son, you know, she's expecting my son. She's expecting, you know, in a few days, you know, she's going to give birth to a child. So she says, please be by my side. So I said, really? So you really do care about your wife? He says, yes, I do. I love my wife. So, you know, these little things about, you know, whereby, you know, we think that, you know, we religious people and ulama have nothing to do with their wives, you know, and they treat them in a bad way. So I was so pleasantly surprised. I said, Maulana, if your wife is saying this, okay, don't go. Little things I used to see. I used to see how generous he was. I used to see how tired he used to be. And then when somebody would come up and meet him, you know, how he used to just get up and meet that man. I used to notice those little things, you know, in him. And it's just not just in him. I've seen Maulana Ibrahim Baham Sahib like this as well. And I've seen a lot of our ulamas like this. That's why I say we stay away from them. That is our loss, not theirs.
Jazakallah for that beautiful inspiration aspect. It is no doubt that Brother Maulana Tariq Jamil has brought about a revolution in terms of huquq al-ibad, in terms of fulfilling the rights of other people, fulfilling the rights of your wife, your family members. The emphasis that he brings upon it is absolutely quite remarkable. Viewers, once again, you would be seeing from time to time the number to dial in and to call in. It's on the screen also, and I believe we have another caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's Kashi from Cape Town. I would like to say welcome to Junaid Jamshed. He's here in South Africa. I heard that.
Jazakallah, brother Kashi.
I would like to request you, Junaid bhai, there is a flood victim in Pakistan. Are you here? So can you raise some fundraising for raise to keep some money to do something for the welfare of the people? Because I've been reading and looking in the newspaper and the TV, there's lots of people is suffering with the water flood.
Yes, brother. Inshallah, before you even said it, my charity organization has already done a lot. Alhamdulillah, we are taking care of it. You don't have to worry about it, inshallah.
MashaAllah, we have a lot of inspiration from you, because to leave the music and come into the deen is not easy. To leave all the shining and the things to come into the deen is not easy, and we always take inspiration from you.
Bless you, brother.
You are really one of the person we really feel proud of you, to where you leave everything and come into the deen and helping in the deen.
Bless you, brother. Bless you.
Jazakallah. Brother, maybe an ideal opportunity for us to speak about your charitable work. I mean, you're also in South Africa for that.
Yes.
This afternoon we had a fundraising for the Islamic Care Line, which does wonderful work in terms of counseling services. There's also other charitable work that you encourage. Maybe to tell our viewers more about it. And in the meanwhile, viewers, the numbers will be coming. But we'll just ask Junaid bhai just to give us a little bit about your charitable work, and then we'll take the caller. I believe we do have a caller. We'll just
very shortly,
for a little while.
Very shortly, as far as health is concerned, I have a charity organization called the Muslim Charity. It's UK based. And for that charity actually takes care of the maternal problems that our women come across. And this charity organization is in 17 countries, namely Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Africa, and a lot of African countries. And I travel amongst these countries quite extensively, whereby the maternal health of a woman whilst she is going through, whilst she's expecting, is not taken care of. You know, women are ignorant for that matter.
In many countries, that is
Many
one of the
countries.
big problems.
And the second thing, as far as education is concerned, is that what I do is in the interior parts of Sindh, where are a lot of cities, I pick up children off the road who have nothing to do and just wasting their times, and orphans off the road, and I bring them. And what I do is in those mohallas, I build masajid, and I convert those masajids into schools. And those schools actually are run in the morning, and after Zohar, there's the masjid is run just the way a proper masjid is run. There is an imam there, there's a muazzin there. But during the day, that masjid is converted into the school. And these children, they come, if they want to memorize Quran, they can memorize, and we have other subjects.
But is an easy way if anyone wants to just contribute to your charitable work?
Maulana, I'll tell you what, but this is very strange. This charity work, they can contribute to the UK charity, yes. But this charity work, I have not even put it on the internet. I just want it to be do it with a lot of ikhlas. I don't want anybody to give me anything. Allah gives me a lot, and I put money over it.
Jazakallah ta'ala, give you more barakat. We have another caller, I believe, on the line, and once again, the number will be flashing on the screen. Anyone else want to speak to Junaid Jamshed? I think it would be an honor for many. Brother, whoever is on the line, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum. Just, everything well, alhamdulillah. We are listening to you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Can I speak to you?
Yes, you are. We are listening to you.
Mufti Saab, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, Mufti Saab?
Yes, carry on. We are listening to you.
Okay. What I want to know is, I heard this person in Durban is excellent, but he must sing one song, What for my late Sheikh, Dil Badal De.
Dil Badal De. Okay, inshallah, before we end the program, we're not going to allow Junaid to go we're away from the studio without singing something live on air, inshallah.
Yeah, but he must sing that one song, Dil Badal De, from my Sheikh Maulana Patel.
Okay,
yes,
Jazakallah.
Yes, I would certainly.
Definitely. Jazakallah for your call.
Yeah, that's the best song you ever saw on the screen.
MashaAllah. Jazakumullah.
Okay.
Jazakumullah.
Very sweet of you.
Very sweet.
Yes.
Just while the brother brought out the aspect of Dil Badal De, of course, it is one of your ash'ar and nazms and anashid, which came on later. Has there been an evolving of your nazm and nats?
Certainly, Maulana. In a way that this nasheed was actually first I heard from Hazrat Maulana Zulfiqar Naqshbandi Sahab.
Yes.
And when I left music, my only regret was that I may not be able to use my voice. But Allah Rabbul Izzat showed me a way, in a way that Mufti Taqi Usmani Sahab called me. And he gave me his nasheed, Ilahi Teri Chaukat Par Bhikhari.
It still makes your hair stand whenever you listen to it.
Wallah,
it's just so beautiful.
Yes. And he gave it to me. And he said, I want you to go to the studio. And I said, Maulana, with great difficulty, I've left the studio. He says, no, go back and make this nasheed. So I went back to the studio and I made it and I brought it back to him. He heard it. I still remember that beautiful smile on his face. And then he said, do this, remove this, and bring it back to me. So I did it back. I did it again. And I remember he said, do it. And then he gave me a dua. And I think it is because of his duas that, my nasheed career just also rocketed and has probably gone past my singing career now. I have never done a concert musical concert in South Africa. But Allah knows how many times I've now played in bigger crowds. If you would have seen the crowd in Polokwane yesterday, I have never heard of that place. So many people. If we would not have ended the concert, that concert would have gone till 3 o'clock in the morning. And I want to tell the people of Polokwane, I want to come back again. Before that, it was Durban. Almost 1,500, 1,600 people, and 100, 200 people couldn't come inside,
We will take up this evolving of your, just to sing, how did you start off your first album? And then going on, we've got another caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Maulana Ibrahim Bam. This is Junaid Muhammad from Newcastle.
Jazakumullah.
You remember me at the airport we met?
Yes,
came for
yes.
the Palestine March.
Yes, 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 yes.
Firstly, we'd like to welcome Junaid Jamshed to South Africa. And we make dua Allah accept his efforts.
Jazakallah, brother.
And Sheikh Junaid, my name is also Junaid.
Oh, brilliant name.
We are requesting you to come to Newcastle, inshallah. We know that it's on your way to Escort. And if you stop for a little while, it will be a great thing for us. Newcastle is
I think I'm probably flying there. Flying there. It would be a little difficult for me to, just jump off the plane from right in the air, because I think I'm flying to Escort.
Right.
And
but Jazakallah for that. See, I think it's very good for us to get your invitations and to get the enthusiasm of people in different centers. So inshallah, this will motivate Junaid to come repeatedly back to South Africa.
Oh yes.
Inshallah. But let us see, if it's not possible in this trip, I think we will put it in the back burner, we will put it in the memory bank to see that inshallah next time when he comes, those places who are making the request would be accommodated in the next trip, inshallah.
Why not? Why not? We'll do a program in Newcastle.
And inshallah. Jazakallah. Is there any other question you just wanted to bring this to the attention that he should try and come to Newcastle?
No, the thing is that the main nazam that we want him to recite for us is Mere Nabi,
Yes, yes.
This is the best nazam, I think.
Bless you, brother. Bless you, inshallah.
And somebody already read it today. Morana Madrasa was in Newcastle.
Yes,
and someone was singing this nazam also.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And during the course of today, Brother Junaid Jamshed also sang something that was composed by the father of Maulana Mazhar, Hakim Akhtar Sahib. Hakim Akhtar Sahab's son is in South Africa at the moment. As I was asking, Jazakallah for that call. Inshallah, once again, viewers, you can call in. The numbers will be flashing on the screen. I believe we've got another caller. Alhamdulillah, the callers are coming in thick and fast, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Mulana. This is Ibrahim Muhammad from Azadwal.
Mashallah, Dr. Ibi.
Mulana, alhamdulillah, it was such a wonderful afternoon we spent with Brother Junaid. Brother Junaid, Jazakallah for creating the noor around the whole of Johannesburg.
Bless you, brother. Bless you. Allah bless you. May Allah give barakah in your life.
And you're really an example to many people, young and old.
Jazakallah, sir. Jazakallah.
And we wish to see you tomorrow in Azadwal, inshallah.
I am looking forward to it, Sheikh. I am looking forward.
Inshallah. We'll try and meet you personally, inshallah.
Please.
And may Allah grant you strength and good health to continue this beautiful work. And maybe you put our charity also on the back burner for next time.
Inshallah.
Why not? And Welfare Association,
Why not?
Inshallah.
Why not, inshallah? Why not?
Inshallah.
Dr. Ibi Muhammad, Jazakallah. Dr. Ibi Muhammad is, if I'm not mistaken, very closely attached and one of the executive members of the Islamic Medical Association.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah, doing sterling work, and some of his work, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him.
Ameen.
I believe we also have another caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. I'm calling from Nelspruit on behalf of Mawadur Rahman. We would just like to tell Brother Junaid that we are really looking forward to him coming over. We've heard wonderful feedbacks from the other towns that he performed in.
Thank you,
and
sister.
we would like him to invite the rest of the people that never made it to those shows to please come to Nelspruit.
Why not? Why not? What's the name of the city?
Nelspruit. It is the door to the Kruger National Park.
Oh,
very
is it?
close to Mozambique. Yes, yes.
So will I be able to see a few lions here and there?
Sure, why not?
Will they be walking on the streets or in the Kruger Park?
In the Kruger Park.
Kruger Park, okay.
Jazakallah, we will just bear in mind, viewers, the program in Nelspruit is scheduled to be, inshallah, next week Sunday, inshallah. And I'm sure people who have not been able to make it to the other programs can even benefit from that. Jazakallah for that call. We've got another caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Brother Jamshed, I have been to Pakistan many a time. And I do second everything you say about Pakistan. It is a beautiful country. It's got so much to offer to your people. And may Allah give us all the hidayah to be good Muslims.
Bless you, sister. Bless you. Bless you. Please come again and again. Be our guests. And That's the beauty of this ummah. You know, doesn't matter where you are from, but when Allah and Rasul come in the middle, we really are one. You know, Allah bless you.
Actually, come to meet you some 27, 8 years ago, and we were actually outside your house, and there was a blackout, and we couldn't meet you.
Subhanallah.
Really?
So that was some 27 years ago.
Now you should come and meet me now.
27, 28 years ago.
Come to one of my programs this time. Which city are you in?
I'm in Johannesburg.
Oh, you're in Johannesburg.
But you went through to Pakistan, and outside his house you sort of went to go and
There
meet
was
him.
a blackout and we couldn't meet him.
Come to my program tomorrow in Azadville, sister, if you can.
I certainly will.
It's a pleasure.
But Brother Jamshed, I have 2 questions to ask
Please go
you.
ahead. Please go ahead.
The one is, what is the difference between a Naat Sharif and a Nasheed?
Okay.
Right, yes.
And the other thing is, what is your take on celebrating the 12th of Rabiul Awwal? Look, I know what is Maulana's take, because he was on One Day Radio 702, and he said that the Saudis don't celebrate the 12th of Rabiul Awwal, so he doesn't support it. But I'd like to know, what is your personal view on celebration of the birth of our Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the most beautiful creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without him we have not been Muslims. Without him we would not have had the Quran Sharif. Without him we would not have had the universe. I'd like to know, what is your take on the celebration of the 12th of Rabiul Awwal?
Most welcome, sister. Most welcome.
Jazakallah, sister. For that, I would just to say that when you do speak in another forum, you normally make mention with regard to the difference that exists within the Muslim community about these issues. And of course, there is a difference, and I respect that difference, and it doesn't mean that when you do speak about the difference that you're actually taking a part of any one of those differences.
Yes.
But
Maulana, the thing is, I celebrate the 12th of Rabiul Awwal, and my celebration of 12th of Rabiul Awwal is in a way that I celebrate it with people who are actually very happy to celebrate it. And I actually host programs in Pakistan on the 12th of Rabiul Awwal, and my program is the most watched program. Why? Because by Allah's grace, my Nasheeds are the most popular Nasheeds over there. And this I'm not being arrogant about it. I'm just saying, I'm actually saying it in a shukr. So there is nothing wrong in being happy in somebody else's happiness. A lot of our ulama also say that, you know, the birth date of the Prophet ﷺ was either on the 10th, you know, some say on the some 9th, some say on the 12th. But if it was on the 12th, so be it. Let's celebrate it. Let's be happy. And
of course, the greatest thing would be that we draw inspiration from the life of our beloved Nabi Kareem.
Yes.
And
then she also asked me the difference between Naat and Nasheed. Yes. Sister, there's no difference between Naat and Nasheed. Nasheed is what the Arabs call it, and Naat is what we call it in our language.
Just two things with regard to it. Oh, sorry, we got another caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. This is Mahmoud Dawud from Durban.
Brother Mahmoud, Jazakumullah for your call.
Junaid's departure of singing with songs accompanied by music to complete Islamic nasheeds, and music being the backbone of film songs and Qawwali songs. I'd like to know what Junaid's view on music per se. Shukran.
Yeah. Sheikh, the thing is that it's like I said, I mean, when we had a break, there was another gentleman who came up to me and he asked me a similar question. And I tell them that I have a preference. I'd like to hear my nasheeds a certain way. Let's say, I'll give you an example. Like there is pop music and then there is rock music. Rock music is played a certain way. That's how you play the rock music. Pop music is cool, calm, and collected. Some people like rock music, some people like pop music, some like jazz, some like classical. So it's basically a preference. My preference for nasheed is, I look for ruhaniyat. I make sure that the noor of the words don't go away. I try to my utmost. Why? Because I want that ruhaniyat to get across to you in your heart. I don't want the guitar to impress you, but I want the words in the praise of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to impress you. Because guitars, as it is, I was playing, you know, I was playing previously, and I know the guitars won't do what the words would do. So what I do is, I join a lot of voices and acapellas. Like when I say Muhammad ka roza qareeb aa raha hai, there are 54 different voices that are saying Muhammad ka roza qareeb aa raha hai in different ways to
enhance
that feeling and to make you actually realize, to just take you to Medina. So when I want to read Muhammad ka roza qareeb aa raha hai, I want to take you to Medina.
Jazakallah for that. And just for the benefit of the viewers, when we speak about ruhaniyat, we're speaking about spirituality. We have another caller, and Jazakallah for the viewers for really bringing in all the calls, and Jazakumullah for all your calls, and we really appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is a caller online? Wa alaikum salam. We can hear you. You can carry on, brother, sister.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Maulana. I just want to say welcome to the gentleman from Pakistan.
Thank you, sister.
I'm phoning from Venda, and I would like you to come to Venda.
I have been to your town once, sister. I have gone to Venda once.
You have been to Venda.
That must have been in one of the previous visits.
And if the people of Venda are watching, there was a boy who was studying in the madrasa at that time. His name was Abdullah. And now I hear he's, mashallah, graduated and he has migrated to Venezuela to spread deen.
Okay,
or some other South American country. So I remember Venda very well.
Oh, that's nice. I'd like you to come back again.
I will,
so
inshallah.
That we can get more inspiration from you. Inshallah.
Bless you, my dear sister. I will, inshallah. I will. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you.
Jazakallah, the callers are coming in, and we have not been able to concentrate on this aspect of Pakistan. Always very interesting. You know, there was many years back, Maulana Hisham al-Thani rahmatullahi used to come to South Africa. Many a times he came. And whenever he was here, they used to call him an arch-Pakistani. Because he loved Pakistan and he used to speak in favor of Pakistan. And then some people used to ask him, yeah, but you're talking very highly about Pakistan, but what about the negative aspects of Pakistan? And Maulana was very humorous, always hazir jawab, always very good in giving answers. So he said Pakistan is a wonderful car. The drivers, unfortunately, are not as good as the car.
You know, we are different in one way from the rest of the world, that we do it first and we think it later. So that sometimes, you know, that very trait of ours gets us into a lot of trouble. But I somehow feel that every Muslim in the world, if he has not visited Pakistan, he really has missed a lot.
Yes, definitely.
Every Muslim, and you know it, Maulana.
Yes, definitely.
Every Muslim must come and visit Pakistan, because
there's just so many dimensions about it. I mean, just to see the different institutions, the aspect of religion, the different aspects of religion.
Yes.
And of course, you cannot but be impressed by that. We have another caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Maulana, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm well.
And also these things to Brother Junaid.
Assalamu alaikum,
Just two questions.
Yes, please.
Maulana.
Please go ahead.
Firstly, what I'd like to know is, Brother Junaid was talking about Imran Khan. If he can give us more or less what his status is today as a Muslim. And furthermore, Maulana, you can enlighten Brother Junaid about the Free State. Maybe, inshallah, he can come to the Free State as well.
So which part of Free State are you in?
I'm in a small town outside Bloom.
Okay, inshallah. And next time, we're keeping a mental note of all the requests that are coming in.
You know why, Maulana? You should know, with our previous political
dispensation,
situation,
yes.
that in the Free State, Islam was almost null. It's just after, our
1994, post-94.
Exactly. So, we'll really appreciate it. And it will be a gain for a lot of non-Muslims as well.
Why not? Why not?
But we'll keep that in mind, inshallah. One venue for the people of Free State, inshallah, we will keep that in mind. Our hosts, I'm sure they must be listening to this program, and I'm sure they're making a mental note. Imran Khan, very interesting phenomena. Very interesting phenomena. I mean, I'll just tell you, as a young student, I was at National Stadium when Imran
you watched
Khan,
the match at National Stadium.
and Imran Khan led Pakistan to victory over India in 1978. I'll just give you that particular background. Obviously, a whole new Imran Khan. Maybe you would just like to dwell a little bit on the question that the caller, the viewer has asked.
I think, Mona, right now in the Muslim world, he's one leader who can look in the eyes of everybody else. And when he says something, he sticks by it. And that is that trait of his which every Pakistani loves and wants. He doesn't have a beard. He doesn't have a turban on his head. He's not wearing, he wears his ties and everything. You know, the glamour is there.
Also wears the shalwar kameez.
Shalwar kameez, you see. He wears my shalwar kameez most of the time. So that I know. But, you see, the thing is, you are coming across a man whose life since 1971 to 2014 is right in front of you.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
43 years of his life is in front of you, speckless. Right? And that man says that we want to stand for a country in which justice is done. We want to stand for a country whereby if somebody who doesn't have any influences or if doesn't have a very strong background, he still can get justice. We want to stand for a country in which taxes are given. We want to stand for a country in which there is the rulers are, there are some rules, there are some discipline. We want to stand for that country. And I personally feel that the movement he started, I think that movement is even now out of his hands. Even if he backs out, the people of Pakistan are not going to back out. And I think we are looking at a very nice morning to dawn for us, inshallah.
That's good. We've got one caller, inshallah. We'll take this caller and then we will have a break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam, Mulana. How are you, Mulana?
Alhamdulillah, I'm well. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, Mulana. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, Mulana. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Mulana, you speak in Nasheeds. Mulana, I'd like the brother Jamshed to read a few. Would he be reading a few verses for us?
Yes, no, inshallah, we won't allow him to go without reading some verses for us.
Okay. Jazakallah
khair. Let us have a break and inshallah we will come back. And jazakallah to all the callers and to the viewers who have really been very, very, coming through with the calls. And if anyone, inshallah, let us go for a break and we come back. We will tell you with regard to the show how long we will continue.
मेरा दिल बदल दे, 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 मेरा गफलत में डूबा दिल बदल दे, मेरा गफलत में डूबा दिल बदल दे, हवाओ हिर्स वाला दिल बदल दे, मेरा गफलत में डूबा दिल बदल दे, खुदाया फजल फरमा दिल बदल दे, खुदाया फजल फरमा दिल बदल दे, बदल दे दिल की दुनिया दिल बदल दे, मेरा गफलत में डूबा दिल बदल दे, गुनाहगारी में कब तक उम्र काटूं, गुनाहगारी में कब तक उम्र काटूं, बदल दे मेरा रास्ता दिल बदल दे, सुनूं मैं नाम तेरा धड़कनों में, سنوں میں نام تیرا دھڑکنوں میں مزہ آ جائے مولا دل بدل دے میرا غفلت میں ڈوبا دل بدل دے ہٹا لوں آنکھ اپنی ماں سوا سے ہٹا لوں آنکھ اپنی ماں سوا سے جیوں میں تیری خاطر دل بدل دے میرا غفلت میں ڈوبا دل بدل دے کروں قربان اپنی ساری خوشیاں کروں قربان اپنی ساری خوشیاں تو اپنا غم عطا کر دل بدل دے میرا غفلت میں ڈوبا دل بدل دے میرا دل بدل دے میرا دل بدل دے میرا دل بدل دے میرا دل بدل دے پڑا ہوں تیرے در پہ دل شکستہ پڑا ہوں تیرے در پہ دل شکستہ رہوں کیوں دل شکستہ دل بدل دے میرا غفلت میں ڈوبا دل بدل دے تیرا ہو جاؤں اتنی آرزو ہے تیرا ہو جاؤں اتنی آرزو ہے بس اتنی ہے تمنا دل بدل دے میری فریاد سن لے میرے مولا میری فریاد سن لے میرے مولا بنا لے اپنا بندہ دل بدل دے میرا غفلت میں ڈوبا دل بدل دے
Respected viewers, Jazakumullah so much for all your calls, and we really do apologize. The phone has been ringing off the hook and we have not been able to take all the calls. And I just suppose it is just part and parcel of Junaid Bhai's personality. We have to end off at 10 o'clock. We have very limited time. There are one or two questions that I would like to ask Brother Junaid. And again, we will be opening up the lines again just for a short period. And then we will make a request to Brother Junaid to do one or two renderings of his Nasheed or Nazms just before the ending of the program. Brother Junaid, I'm very fascinated in one aspect, just the evolving of your Nazms. Obviously, you started off with Jalwa-e Janan, very beautiful Nazms. The one aspect about speaking about the greatness of our beloved Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the aspect about something that is very close to your heart, Madina Qareeb Aa Raha Hai, was in the second Nazm.
Yes.
We saw during the course of the break, one of it was done with someone in English, maybe somewhat more contemporary. Just to ask us, how was the evolving of your Nazms, and which one would you regard as something very special to your heart?
Maulana, singing in Urdu, obviously, it's just Urdu language, and you're singing in your own country. Now I realize that, at that particular time, we were quite limited. But when you're talking about the ummah, that includes everyone. The Arabs and the Bengalis and the Malaysians and the Indonesians, the Africans, everyone. And it's a huge, big ummah. So there you are, you can read Nasheeds in Arabic. I read Nasheeds in Bangla, and Nasheeds in Punjabi language and Pashto language and English language. So that sort of widened my horizons. And then I came across Native Deen, wonderful boys, I requested, let's do a Nasheed together. Boom, immediately we did a Nasheed. You saw that time waits for no one. Then I did Subhanallah, another Nasheed with them. So we did a whole album then. So it's, and traveling all over the world, you see different people, you see their likes and dislikes, and that sort of teaches you a lot. Wallah, traveling teaches you a lot. So in that way, nasheed reading has really.
And if I have to put you on a spot, which one would you prefer out of your variety of anashid that you have rendered?
My personal like is definitely Dil Badal De. My personal like. But the one that is close to my heart is Muhammad Ka Roza Qareeb Aa Raha. Because that is written by Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan Sahab, one of the greatest names, in our tabligh.
Viewers, of course, we do have the numbers flashing on the screen. We are going to take 2 more callers. I don't know who is going to be fortunate to get through that. And since Brother Junaid has made mention of these 2 nazms, we will put him on the spot and said before he leaves, before 10 o'clock, we would, inshallah, ask him with regard to rendering those 2 nazms, inshallah, on air, at least live. And I'm sure the viewers will really appreciate that. You have traveled, extensively, Brother Junaid. You have been to America. You have been to Washington. You have been to Sydney. I remember just seeing a clip of being in the Sydney Opera House.
Yes.
So wonderful, thinking about it in the name of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, coming out from there. And then, of course, traveled extensively in Europe, in United Kingdom. You're quite often there. You've come to South Africa 2 or 3 times. What would you say with regard to how do you find South African Muslims comparative to other parts of the world? And how do you find the global Muslim ummah?
Sheikh, there is definitely an awakening. There's a huge awakening. The Muslims of the world are becoming more and more aware of their culture, of their background, and most of all, Allah and His Prophet. They're becoming more and more aware, especially the younger crowd. The younger crowd more so. They want to know. Sometimes they get misled, but even in being misled, it is their ikhlas that they really want to know that, what is our background. See, you go to places where at one point in time there was 1 masjid. Now you find 50 masajid over there. Only in the city of Toronto, you have over 100 masajid. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
Yeah. And so that awareness is there. And as far as the Muslim community of South Africa is concerned, not because they're watching me and you're sitting in front of me. Wallah, I have nothing but words of praises for you people. That, sitting so far away from your, one would have thought maybe, this Western culture would actually engulf you guys in. But you actually saved your culture, and you saved your Allah, and you saved your Prophet with you, and you caught them by the teeth, and you made those madaris, right? And you sent your children there, and then they grew up and they sent their children there. So that holding of that, Allah and His Rasul and the Deen was there. And the one other very interesting thing that I see over here is, I see that the youngsters, even if they're there, you don't see them following the Sunnah, but you always see them attached to one alim or the other, and he is taking mashwara from them. That is a huge life savior.
Jazakallah for that. I believe we have a caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Do we have a caller on the line? Okay, maybe we have. If the number is flashing on the screen, 011 086 7700. We have limited time. We can maybe take a call or 2. But inshallah, before we do break at 10 o'clock, we will ask Brother Junaid to render 1 or 2 of his ash'ar and his nazms and his anashid. Talking about the global Muslim ummah, this is your perception about South African Muslims. How do you find Muslims in other parts of the globe, and how has your interaction with them been?
Because nasheed singing is like is a global language, right? You go to Bangladesh, you have different people there. Bengali people, very soft-hearted. I remember when every time you used to raise hands to make a dua, before you even would say a word, you would start hearing people sobbing, and crying. That's the kind of people they are.
We'll come back. Let's just take another call. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, we're listening to you loud and clear. You can carry on.
Yes, I'm from Pakistan. I'm speaking Abdullah Khan.
MashaAllah, yes.
Yes, my dear brother.
Yes. Can I speak in Urdu?
हाँ बोलो. I will give the answer.
Assalamualaikum भाईजान Jamshed.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू. कैसे हो प्यारे?
भाई माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह. मैं आपको देखकर बहुत खुश हुई टीवी पर भाईजान, और मैं आपको बयान बातें सुन रहा था कि मैंने दिन में ख्याल है मैं आपको फोन कर दूं. मेरे लिए जरूर दुआ करना भाईजान कि मुझे अल्लाह पाक 4 महीने में कबूल कर दे.
आमीन. लेकिन मेरी बात सुनो.
जरूर दुआ करना, क्योंकि मैं बहुत ट्राई कर रहा हूँ, बहुत कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि अल्लाह मुझे 4 महीने में कबूल कर दे.
लो ये तो फिर सोच लो कि मेरी दुआ कबूल हो जाएगी. मैं तो मुसाफिर हूँ, अभी कबूल हो जाएगी. करूँ कि नहीं?
करो, दुआ करो भाईजान.
अल्लाह पाक, अल्लाह मेरे भाई को अपने रास्ते में कबूल फरमाए. आमीन.
आमीन आमीन आमीन. जज़ाकल्लाह. और मेरे सब मुसलमान भाई जितने भी पाकिस्तानी भाई जितने गफलत में पड़े उनके लिए भी दुआ करना प्लीज.
आमीन 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 आमीन. क्या बात है मेरे भाई.
सब उम्मत इंसानियत के.
अल्लाह खुश रखे, अल्लाह खुश रखे.
The Pakistani diaspora, wherever you go, you do find them, isn't it?
Oh, I do, you know, and believe me, Maulana, believe me. You know, I understand one thing, that people never tend to make me forget that I am Dil Pakistan. They never tend to forget me. You know, the funny thing was, even today you were shouting from downstairs, and I was doing the Jobak program. You were asking me to read Dil Pakistan. I always realize that, you know, as a Muslim and as a Pakistani, there's a huge responsibility on me, and I have to fulfill that responsibility. Only recently I just read a quote. Somebody said, you know, elate your akhlaq to an extent that when somebody else looks at you, and he should say, if the ummati is like this, imagine how the Prophet would be.
Subhanallah.
Elate your akhlaq to an extent. So I do my best, you know, but I'm human. I may
We'll take one last caller, and Jazakallah for all your calls. Really, we would have loved to have taken more calls. We are running out of time. This is our last caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I'd just like to ask Brother Junaid about Sister Afia. Did he do any concerts for her release or anything?
At home, my dear sister, we have raised a lot of voice. Over here, not so much, because over here I've come for some other work, you know, I'm helping other charities to raise money for them. But yes, at home, we're constantly doing it, and we just hope that may Allah Rabbul Izzat release her. And just because you've mentioned, I would like you know, our sisters to read La Hawla wa La Quwwata Illa Billah about 500 times a day for her.
Jazakallah khair.
Thank you. Yes, Jazakallah. Sister Fawzia, the sister of Afia, was in South Africa just a month or two, raising awareness with regard to her plight, and we make dua that inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant a quick and an honorable release, inshallah, very soon. Well, we have taken the last of our callers. Just one or two things. When you have met so many people in the world, you've been to America, Australia, what has been, you know, something that stands out in terms of the people of the world? Or is it that, like, places like America, Australia, South Africa, people in minority countries, do you find certain things that are very similar in nature, where people are trying to cling to their religion? Maybe it might be a bold statement on my behalf, that because you're in a minority situation, you are dealing with people of other faiths, you tend to value your deen, maybe perhaps more than what people are in majority Muslim country. Would you say that?
To an extent, yes. To an extent, yes. People, say maybe in the US, say maybe in a small city like Memphis, the Muslim community, you see a lot of harmony amongst the Muslim communities. You see a lot of harmonies among the Pakistanis and the Indians over there. You know, at home we could be daggers drawn, but in a different city in the world, because, you know, they are Muslims, they have a lot of love amongst each other, and you see marriages happening amongst each other. You know, Pakistani boy marrying an Indian girl, Indian boy marrying a Pakistani girl. This happens a lot in those countries. Yet, Maulana, I very strongly feel that if you don't know your deen, that is the biggest mishap in life. Why? Because then the non-Muslims get nothing, they end up gaining nothing from you, right? But if you know your deen, if you know your religion, then when you come across them, because Islam is a deen of fitrah, the lifestyle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a human magnet, you know. Even the worst of the enemies they couldn't avoid coming close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in that way, I feel that we are doing a great injustice to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by not learning deen.
So important. Each and every ummati is a representative of our beloved Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam and a representative of our deen. We are coming to the end of our time. I believe we have about 4 minutes left. Brother Junaid, you have heard the request.
Yeah.
I don't need to say anything more.
But they just heard Mera Dil.
No, but it's not the same. You know, what is to have it live from you? Yes.
Mera dil badal de, mera ghaflat mein dooba dil badal de, Khudaya fazl farma dil badal de, hawa hirs wala dil badal de, mera ghaflat mein dooba dil badal de, गुनाहगारी में कब तक उम्र काटूं, गुनाहगारी में कब तक उम्र काटूं, बदल दे मेरा रास्ता दिल बदल दे, मेरा गफलत में डूबा दिल बदल दे, मैं वहदत पिला मखमूर कर दे, मोहब्बत के नशे में चूर कर दे, मेरा गफलत में डूबा दिल बदल दे, हो मेरा गफलत में डूबा दिल बदल दे, मेरा दिल बदल दे.
Medina Qareeb are last one.
मोहम्मद का रोज़ा करीब आ रहा है, मोहम्मद का रोज़ा करीब आ रहा है, फरिश्तों ये दे दो पैगाम उनको कि खादिम तुम्हारा सईद आ रहा है, कि खादिम तुम्हारा सईद आ रहा है, मदीना 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 तराअत बिक़ल्बी सिराजम मुनीरा. तुम्हें कुछ खबर है कहाँ जा रहा हूँ, रसूले खुदा है वहाँ जा रहा हूँ, तुम्हें कुछ खबर है मैं क्या पा रहा हूँ, मोहब्बत का उनकी मज़ा पा रहा हूँ, मदीना 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 मदीना.
Well, Junaid, it has been a fascinating 2 hours. I can't believe that we have been almost 1 hour and 40 minutes here in the studio. It has been fascinating.
The pleasure is all mine, Maulana.
And inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you grow from strength to strength. May Allah ta'ala use you for the propagation of His deen. May Allah ta'ala grant you ikhlas and sincerity. And maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use you in various ways. And maybe just a few parting advices to our viewers and to the Muslims.
Oh, Maulana, no advice really for the people of South Africa. They have people like you around you. My just one little advice to everyone over here is please do not leave the side of your elders. Please do not stop taking advices and mashwaras from them. Wallah, believe me, you will remain on the right track.
Jazakallah so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Viewers, I'm sure you must have enjoyed this speaking to Junaid Jamshed and listening to him the way I have done in speaking to him. And we hope, inshallah, we will be able to have many more sittings like this. Junaid has a very tight schedule. He will be here for the next week or so. People can find out with regard to his program. But inshallah, we hope it will not be the last time when he will be visiting our shows, and we will be able to host him, and we will be able to show him the love and hospitality of the people of South Africa.
Maulana, I've recently gotten on Twitter as well, at Junaid Jamshed PK, at Junaid Jamshed PK. So I would like you all to please Send me your views because it's really important. I'm actually doing it for you people. Please do let me know of your advices.
Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah akbar. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah akbar. Ye zameen aur aasmaan teri qudrat ke nishaan, tu hi ibtida, tu hi intiha. ساری دنیا کے محور میں گونجتی ہے تیری اذان، تو لامکان. سبحان اللہ، الحمدللہ، لا الہ الا اللہ اکبر. سبحان اللہ، سارے بحر و بر کیا ہے ان کا سفر، یہ ساری عظمتیں وسعتیں ہیں بے کرام. وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء، جو چاہا کر دیا، کن کہا اور ہو گیا. سبحان اللہ، الحمدللہ، لا الہ الا اللہ اکبر. سبحان اللہ، الحمدللہ، لا الہ الا اللہ. محتاج ہیں تیرے در کے سب شاہ و گدا، عرش و زمین پر ہر طرف تیری ثنا. دھڑکنوں کی سنتا ہے تو ہی صدا، شارق سے تو قریب ہے میرے خدا. سبحان اللہ والحمد للہ، لا الہ الا اللہ. اے اللہ رحمان رحیم، اے اللہ تو ہی کریم، محتاج ہے تیرے در کے سب شاہ و گدا. خدایا کر نظر، ہم ہیں بے خبر، شاہ رق سے تو قریب ہے میرے خدا. سبحان اللہ، الحمدللہ، لا الہ الا اللہ اکبر. سبحان اللہ، الحمدللہ، لا الہ الا اللہ. سبحان اللہ، الحمدللہ، لا الہ الا اللہ اکبر. سبحان اللہ، الحمدللہ، لا الہ الا اللہ اکبر. سبحان اللہ. تبسم 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 تبسم
تبسم تبسم وخل الهموم وخل